Since March of 2020, our business world has changed. Companies had to figure out how to work virtually when everyone was so used to going into an office. Our guest today has been conducting business virtually while building a culture that is uplifting, rewarding, and supportive for the last 17 years. Jaymie Scotto Cutaia, the founder and CEO of Jaymie Scotto & Associates, otherwise known as JSA, the marketing and PR agency for tech and telecom industry. Since the inception of JSA, Jaymie has focused on creating a culture that she refers to as family. Over the years, Jaymie has created and deployed multiple news and networking channels for the data center and telecom industry, including the Women's Speaking Initiative, which encourages a more diverse voice in her industry's panels, keynotes, and virtual roundtables. Her company blog has over 170,000 readers. They have a weekly newsletter that is seen by over 28,000 readers. She has created JSA TV and hosts her own JSA Podcast. She's a published author. She's a member of the National Association for Women Business Owners. She has served on the boards of American Shakespear Center, Friends for the August County Library, and VHCF Equestrians. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree cum laude with the highest honors from Tufts University and a Master's of Fine Arts in Writing from New York University. Jaymie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeff.
Boy, that's a mouthful, I got to tell you.
I know. I was like, oh, yeah, that was fun to go down the path with you because I hadn't read my bio in a long time.
It's very impressive. It's very impressive. Jay, you're one of my favorite people. And I got to tell you, it's just such a pleasure knowing you and working with you over these years. And your list of accomplishments, again, just continues to blow me away. And you've done it in such what I consider to be a short amount of time. And yet you still have a lot of time to go. So I'm looking for the ongoing things that you're going to continue to bring to the table.
And my biggest accomplishment, as you know, is I had a little girl during the pandemic. So wow. My 19-month-old now, Ava Capri. So
yeah, that's incredible. 19 months. I can't believe she's that old.
I know.
Time just flies, I think we actually forgot about a whole year when we were all locked in our homes. So, it's kind of hard to do that, to believe that. It's crazy. So Jaymie, before we dive into the topic, I really want to talk about virtual work environments. But if you could just tell our listeners a little bit about JSA, why you started it, when you started it, and the most important thing, I guess, to our listeners is why did you decide to make it a virtual company?
Oh, I love that question. So 17 years ago, actually January 1, we celebrated 17 years. Incredible. But prior to JSA, I was director of marketing and PR for a company called Telex, which was acquired by Digital Realty a few years back. But a phenomenal colo data center provider in America. And I landed this big job day one. I'm sitting in my new office, my new desk chair, and I called up the PR firm that's already been retained and got the gal on the phone. Finally, she's part of this big Madison Avenue PR firm, and her other accounts were Colgate and Cheerios. So finally she takes my call and I'm all excited and like, what did Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Crane's Business, what did they say? What did they say about Telex? What's your pitch? What's resonating with them? And she goes, Jaymie, I got to be honest with you. No one cares about collocation. And that's what she called our only service, which is co-location. Yeah. And, I just kind of like melted a little bit on the phone. I was like, oh my goodness, like I want someone who's passionate about who we are, what we're doing, what it means to the industry, to the world. And I want people to know how to pronounce our only service. And so I just thought that fundamentally PR agencies were somehow not getting there. We need to be focused. We need to know who our industry is, who are the influencers, who's writing about our stuff, whether they're bloggers, social influencers, journalists, analysts, who's moving the needle, who's an influencer, and why are they writing about it? What's driving them? What's the spiritual why? What's the passionate? How is this impacting all of our daily lives? And I felt like, the folks that at the time that were doing PR and they felt like they could sell toothpaste and airlines and, oh yes, co-location, I just, something didn't feel right. So a couple of years after that, when Telex went through its first round of sales, I started JSA, again, January 1, 2005. to be the very first, because I couldn't find them. So we were the first PR firm that also did digital marketing and events, because I see it all as, communications and
Sure.
needs to be centralized and have a clear message no matter what channel you're going to market. But really it's about making sure that you're passionate and you're really hyper focused on who your clients are, what they're offering, and who they should be connected to. So that started JSA, and yeah, it was a no-brainer to be virtual since day one, because I wanted balance. I wanted family. I wanted. I was working. Telex at the time was downtown New York City. Right in the heart of it all. And, just the commuting, I would get in there before dawn and leave well after dark. And, it was like, I wonder what sunlight's like. So I wanted a little more balance. And I wanted to be able to grow my career. I'm a creature of comfort too. I like my little blanket, my candle, soft music. I want to control my environment. I'm a writer by trade, by heart. So wanted to make sure that I had the best, least distracting environment for my best quality work. And then I have a dog, and I wanted to go walk my dog in the middle of the day. And I just felt like, when I was in the office environment, 2-hour, commute back and forth, getting pulled into meetings that weren't necessarily what I wanted to be in or really had to be in. It's always someone's birthday, always some lunch outing, etc. It was all great, and I'm glad I had that time, and I learned so much, and I loved the environment when I was there. But for my ideal, world that I could create with JSA, I really wanted it to be different, unique, a different way of thinking about work and how work can work for us. And as we empower our team to really take the reins with me and create an atmosphere that's compatible and healthy for them.
That's great. And it's one of the things that I find amazing about that is that you were so ahead of the curve. Most people, everyone, you start a business, you had to have an office. What was your address, kind of thing, right? How can I come visit you at the office? But you were able to keep that going and actually grow the company that way. So did you find it easier or more difficult to find employees as you grew and needed to hire people? What was the advantage or disadvantage of that?
Well, a lot of things have changed, right? So for the better part of 15 years or so, when I would say this is a 100% virtual environment, people would be like, no, but where's your office? Or like they couldn't, it was a really hard concept. And they're like, oh, so some of the people are working remotely and some are in an office somewhere. And I'm like, no, we're all remote. And so I'd have to have this conversation wherever I posted a job posting or when I was talking to potential JSAers. And I just always found that one, you have to hire people who really love that type of environment. You have to be an interesting, eclectic type of person that thrives, with their own motivation. They have their own edge. They want to perform for themselves and what they can do, but they're also very technical, can collaborate in virtual environments and still, brainstorm with one another and work together to get to a unified goal. So it really it's a person with unique quality of skills. But because we were 100% virtual and since day one, I was really blessed that I was able to hire that type of person. I think a lot of virtual environments pre-pandemic got a bad rep because they were like these hybrid things where there was a work environment and then the people that had to work remotely a couple of days a week or something were sort of like looked down on, like, oh yeah, they're really not working, they're working with their air quotes or something, and that's not the truth. The truth is you can be really highly successful, highly accomplished, with your laptop looking at a beautiful little sunrise in your home office. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've basically worked from home since 2003. And I always tell people I'm pretty much unemployable if I had to go into an office every day, because I've gotten so used to my own routine and when I start, when I finish, the best hours of the day, my best hours are 6:30 in the morning till probably 2:30 in the afternoon, really. That's when I feel like I'm my freshest. But, a lot of people love to sleep in and start work at noon and work till 8 at night, and good for them. I think that's the advantages that it gives us. So, I know during the pandemic, so many companies were struggling with this whole virtual environment. Yet, in my opinion, you became a shining beacon to your clients because of all your years of experience running a virtual company. So, give us a couple of the secrets that you had that have allowed you to successfully manage a virtual company. What are some of the things that have worked for you?
Absolutely lean in on technology. We just started ClickUp, which is not to make this an advertisement for ClickUp, but JSA referred, but we just started this tool that allows us to really manage our own time and manage tasks, assignments, timelines. We log our hours in there, but it allows us to see transparently to other folks too. So if there's someone on our team who does have availability, we can ping them in and without having to go to the executive team to figure out who they can have on the team or something, you can just say, hey, I see you have a few hours. Can you help me on this task? And that's giving tools to our team. So we're not reporting down to them. They can see and do and make moves quickly, and that we all rely on each other and responsive to one another and accountable for one another. Those are the types of tools that are really going to generate success and overall like a better corporate culture. Every single JSAer that we have here, they're phenomenal. They're just amazing people. And I am not in the position, nor do I want to be to get in the weeds with them. Like they know what they need to do to get to the level of success for them and their clients. And I just want to empower them with tools to allow them the visibility to see, what resources they have available to get them there. And that they can turn around and make those decisions and help one another out. So I'm really excited about that new rollout. I think it's been really, really incredible so far. We're on things like Slack as well for fast little one-to-one messaging or one-to-many, and that integrates well with this system as well. There's so many tools out there that can help automate your sales and marketing processes like HubSpot. So we're big fans of that. We use it for our own company as well as for many of our clients. But yeah, part of our jobs these days, I feel like every company that's pushing forward and growing right now, they are technology companies, whether they know it or not. In order to really excel at remote learning and remote working, you need to get on your technology game. So if you have a need, chances are there's an app for that these days.
That's true. There's pretty much anything we need. Yeah.
And then I guess that's my second thing is I try to get involved with like CEO master classes or EO type of companies where I can get more executive level training and networking. I love to even just introduce groups of people like I'm doing with the book Greener Data, who are all passionate on topics like reducing carbon emissions, and get a think tank going and create a special LinkedIn group and just really start to network and share ideas. I feel like if anything, one of the little notes from post-pandemic reality that we're living is that we're all a little bit more at home and not going from airplane to airplane like we were doing pre-March 2020. And so we're all a little bit more available to jump on virtual Zooms and chats and roundtables and just share knowledge. I think we all really crave human connection and one-to-one. And so video is, if you can't be there in person due to social distancing or whatever, video is your next best option. And I think we're all learning to, figure out how to maximize video potential to really still seek out mentoring and learning from one another.
Sure. So you mentioned some earlier on that you talked about culture. And I think one of the, in my research and opinions, one of the biggest things that companies are struggling with is keeping their company culture as when they went in the office versus virtually. You've never had the office. So how did you, and again, to go back to, you like to call your business and your culture family. How do you go back? How did you build that? I mean, how do you build that culture so that people feel connected? And one of the biggest things I hear from people is they feel isolated, right? So what are some of the things that you've done that have helped them not feel so isolated?
So I'm a very family-oriented person, Italian American by I guess heritage, my upbringing, and so early on I realized that I'm giving at least a third of my life to JSAers, my family of JSAers, a third of my life then to my family at home, and then a third of my life to sleep, right? If you take a 24-hour day, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of play, family time, and 8 hours of sleep. And so it mattered to me who I was spending those 8 hours with. And it also mattered to me what their core values were and what my core values were and where did they intertwine. And then the power when you bring together like-minded individuals who all share and are passionate about a set core values, and then put them towards a mission. So JSA, we have a clear mission. It's two-pronged. One, to be the best PR marketing and event planning firm for our industry. Check that box. And then the second is to give our industry qualified information, education, news, so that we can all make better business decisions and grow this industry together. So with that very clear mission and, a team of people who are passionate and share the same core values, you can accomplish anything. You can, I really, what was the line I heard? Anyone can do anything if they want.
Right.
It's
true. Yeah. And so have you done anything particular, again, do you do weekly meetings? Do you do one-on-one sessions? Do you do group activities? What do you do so that your people feel connected, not only to their jobs, but to the company?
Yeah. So all of the above plus. And I think post-pandemic made us even dig deeper. So yes, we have a team call once a week, an hour long, but we all need to know what's going on and what each division of the company is focused in on, or, celebrating our collective successes.
And I assume that's on video, not dial-in like it used to be years ago, right?
Yes, absolutely. Zoom has the ability now to have like 60 something videos. So again, hey, call out to Zoom. But it's important that we're all there, showing up, turned on, that, we're not looking distracted. You can learn a lot through video cues. And so, it's definitely important. Then we also, I put a team for every account. And so they meet before team calls, with team calls, etc. We have collaboration tools to help us keep that energy and communications flowing. But then we're also, each division of JSA is meeting. Then we also have what we call strategy circles. So we break our teams into groups of 8, basically, where they can be mentoring one another and growing each other, making sure that they're reaching their professional goals as well as the company goals. And then we also have a one-to-one mentoring program. We call them Peacock Partners. Peacock is our mascot.
And on the
So
strategy circles, I'm assuming you have someone in charge, or is it just a team that meets?
yes, we have a strategy circle leader
Okay.
who sort of keeps an agenda, keeps us moving forward. But it really is very collaborative. Every voice is heard.
That's great. Yeah, and I think those are great little points that hopefully our listeners will pick up on. But it appears that it's working well for JSA. Thanks for sharing that, Jay. I appreciate that.
And I will say we had to dig in deeper March 2020 moving forward because the strain on every individual is crazy now. This pandemic that just seems to continue to linger. There's no end date in sight. There's crazy weather patterns, oil spills, earthquakes, tsunami warnings. I woke up to a tsunami warning on Saturday.
Right.
It's just like, I said to my husband, I'm like, I'm afraid I'm going to open up my mouth and locusts are going to like fly out. Like, this is insanity. And I think we all carry, it's not just the stress of being parents or, to our children or to our own parents. It's not just the stress of, being business professionals. It's not just the stress of trying to, set healthy goals for yourself and live your best, healthiest life. Now you also have like the earth is like a question mark around you. Like this, this is insanity. And it's such, all this on the very, very like, nervous state of our current political situation. So I would say you got to dig in to find out people's spiritual whys right now. There's a new way to lead. You cannot use last, decades practices and apply them and think that that's going to just be a panacea, a little band-aid and keep it going.
Couldn't agree more.
You absolutely need to be asking your team, meet them one-on-one. What are your personal and professional goals? Where do you see yourself in 2 years' time? What is your spiritual why? What do you want to do? How do you want to, if you can do anything and be anything and achieve anything, what is it? And if they're not asking themselves this already, ask it for them.
Sure.
And then together, collectively, make it a company objective. And that's the creation of two things: greener data for JSA, our book to help reduce carbon emissions quickly. And that'll be out on Earth Day. So April 22nd, which is really a fast time to turn around a whole book, but thank you for everyone and their collective collaborative efforts. And then the second thing is we started a scholarship for one of our colleagues who passed a year ago, Stephanie Cronin. And so we have over 700 applicants. February 14th is the day that we select, but we are expecting over 1,000 applicants for high school and undergraduate students who portray her values. We're pushing forward, and again, it comes out of asking people, what is your spiritual why? And I think now it's not enough to say, yeah, I'm loyal to this company. I worked here for 20 years. They've been good to me. Very few people, by the way, are in the same position for 20 years nowadays. That was my mother's generation, not ours, sadly. But you have to give them a reason to stay, and it's beyond dollars. It's beyond, an extra day paid off, or an extra holiday. It really has to be a spiritual connection to keep your team incentivized to be their best selves.
Yeah, it's funny. I love that, by the way. And one of the things that I've always talked about is, people don't leave their jobs. Only 12%, actually, if you want to know the number, 12% of people leave their jobs because of money, right? 79% leave because they feel unappreciated. There's no connection. They feel there's nothing there for them, right? They just feel like I'm looking for something. And your spiritual why hits it nail right on the head for me. I think that's a very interesting way to look at it. I love that. What a great tip for our listeners too. I think they'll appreciate that as well.
Thanks.
Well, I got so many other questions I want to ask you, but we're starting to run out of time.
That's me.
Maybe we'll have to do it. Maybe we'll have to do a part 2 here at some point in the future.
Definitely.
But Jay, I can't say how much I really appreciate your candidness and your ability just to be a leader in the industry and for your people over the years. It's just been amazing, and it comes through anybody I talk to at JSA. Your spirit and your resolve always comes shining through as a bright light. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for that. Jay, if anybody wanted to get a hold of you, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah. JSA.net, that's our URL. Look us up. Jaymie at JSA.net. And Jeff, thank you for what you're doing too. The world needs Pull the Chute right now. And I'm such a fan of you and your spirituality and your guidance over the years has helped me become a better leader. So thank you so much. And I look forward to more of these conversations to come.
Thanks, Jay. Really appreciate that. To all our listeners, thanks for listening. Until the next time, stay safe and be healthy.